name is Rachita Mathur, currently working as a legal intern at LEXCLIQ. So today I'll be discussing on law against human trafficking in India. So first of all, we will be looking at what is human trafficking. So human trafficking means any action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another for the purpose of forced labor or sexual exploitation. Further, as we all know that human trafficking is a serious crime and grave violation of human rights. Hence, sexual exploitation of children for any country is worse than any other offence against the children. Article 51A, Clause E of Constitution states that it shall be the duty of every person, of every citizen of India to renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women, but in practice, the position is quite different from the spirit of Constitution in India. Although there are various forms of human trafficking, and some of them are sexual exploitation, bonded labor, domestic servitude, begging, drug smuggling, forced marriage, forced criminality, child soldier, organ harvesting. There are various factors which are leading to this trafficking. First is poverty, second is lack of employment opportunity, third is religious or traditional prostitution, fourth is child marriage, fifth is false promise for job or marriage, migration, sex tourism, internet pornography. Not only women and children but also men are being subject to human trafficking. In India, a large number of people are being trafficked, and not only for sex trade but also for various other kinds of servitude. Some of the different types of sexual exploitation of children are child prostitution, child pornography in general, or on internet trafficking for sexual exploitation, incestuous sexual exploitation, child sex tourism, and child marriage. While looking at the legal framework, we can say under Constitution of India there are mainly two articles. First is Article 23 and second is Article 24. Article 23 protects against exploitation and prohibit the trafficking human and beggar and make this practice punishable under the law. Whereas under Article 24, it protects children below the age of 14 years from working in factory, mines or other hazardous employment. Although in IPC there are 25 provisions which deals with trafficking, but here I will be dealing with most significant ones. The first is section 366A, which deals with inducing any minor girl under the age of 18 years to go to any place with intent to force or seduce illicit intercourse with another person shall be punishable offence. Next is section 366B, importing any girl under 21 years with the intent that she will be forced or seduced to illicit intercourse with another person is a punishable offence. Under section 374, which deals with punishes any person who for unlawfully compels any person to labour against his will. Now there are certain acts like Immoral Traffic Prevention Act of 1956. The main object of this act is related to the commercial sexual exploitation of children, and the word trafficking has not been defined under this act, but the word trafficking has been defined by Goa Children Act of 2003, that which is a state law. And there are certain offences which is specified under this act are keeping a brother or allowing a premise to be used as a brothel, living on the earning of prostitution, attempting or procuring or taking any person for sake of prostitution, detaining any person in premise for prostitution, prostitution in the vicinity of public places, seduction of a person in custody. In case now there was one more act like Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986, where the act prohibits the employment of children below the age of specific age and in certain specified occupations too. It also imposes punishment for the employment of minor children. Under IT Act, there are mainly two sections which deals with like section 67A and 68A. 67A makes it punishes for publication or transmission of material containing any sexually explicit act in electronic form, whereas section 68B, which deals with punishes publication or transmission of material depicting children in sexual explicit act in electronic form. Where in case of Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act, the law is relevant for children who are vulnerable and are therefore likely to be the victim of trafficking. It further protects the juvenile in need of care and protection. Now, in Karnataka, Devadasi Prohibition of Dedication Act, this act of dedication of any girl with or without the consent of dedicated person engaging her in a prostitution is unlawful and punishable. In case of Andhra Pradesh, Devadasi Prohibiting Dedication Act, this law prohibits any ceremony which is dedicated as Devadasi in any manner and imposes a penalty of imprisonment for 3 years and fine. In Goa Children Act of 2003, this act is defined precisely in trafficking and it includes every type of sexual exploitation in the definition of sexual assault, and there are strict laws on the safety of children and publishing pornography material. Further, there are certain international instruments too to eliminate the children sexual abuse, like International Convention for Suppression of Traffic in Person Exploitation of Prostitution, Convention on Consent to Marriage, Minimum Age for Marriage and Registration for Marriage, Convention on Elimination of all form of discrimination against the woman, United Nations Standard Minimum Rule for Administration of Juvenile Justice, etc. Now there are some regional instruments like SAR Convention. This convention helps to prevent and combat trafficking in women and children for prostitution, and further arrangement for the promotion of child welfare and in South Asia. Now, state, media, NGO, they also play a significant role to prevent the trafficking. Like in case of state, it helps to promote the high quality program for teacher in government school, and it also helps to prevent measure by different nations and should be shared among each other to help both the countries in preventing this trafficking. In case of NGO, they should educate and to ensure the parents that they are aware about the safe migration practice. While in case of media, the transmitting the appropriate message to the victim to ensure that they have a backup and are not alone. A program to make citizens aware of places and institutions to seek help in case if they are being victimized. Educate and spread awareness that human trafficking is illegal and inappropriate, and that it has negative consequences too. That's all for the day. Thank you.